So when it comes to town properties, the best argument you have in favor of this very narrow band of restriction is the fact that there is secondhand smoke to consider. And now there is a liability question to be had, but it's within the framework of the secondhand smoke. As in, it's a colossal stretch, and any court that gets presented with this case should never even hear it and should dismiss it offhand. But there is something of a liability. I caught cancer, and the reason I caught cancer is because you allowed smoking to happen on your property, and I was constantly exposed to the secondhand smoke. It's a stretch. It's a colossal stretch, but technically there is something of a liability there. And that's not really what Pete, I think, was getting at, though I imagine that's probably what the attorneys were getting at when he presents the liability argument. And watch where this goes, because this is actually a weak argument.
So some of the things we did talk about the last town council meeting, first and foremost, is the secondhand smoke and the fact that public places are supposed to be for everyone, non-exclusive of anybody, right? It's all supposed to be equal. Now, with that in mind too, as Randy will tell you, we have a very litigious society nowadays. They will sue for anything. So as I was telling Randy, you could be smoking a joint, right, down by the river, and you could be walking on the sidewalk, right, that's down there, the river thing, and fall because you're pretty high, right? Because who knows, maybe you got a real good,
some Carly Fox stuff.
Got a real potent patch there, right? So, and you fall, you're going to sue the town. Let's say you get in the car, right, Randy? And now you're driving, and you crash, and you hit someone. And they're going to say, where did you smoke that's marijuana cigarette, or that joint? Where did you smoke? Oh, it's over there in the town. Oh, really? There could be some litigation that could come before it. So we kind of have to hedge our bets, so to speak. Hence why, besides the second-hand smoke, that we could get sued for that now too. We have to really minimize our risk, and that's pretty much one of the main drivers and reasons why we're looking at town properties not allowing that for the town property. Now, as far as your own home and everything else, I know there was a couple conjectures. That's your own home. You know what I mean?
So then why limit it to just smoking and vaping? So he presents the argument that I just made, which, again, it's a reach. It's a little bit of a reach in terms of the liability in that case. It's a little bit of a reach. You could just make the consent argument, which is a great argument on principle. And remember that. We're going to come back to that. The strongest arguments are the ones on principle. But they're also not the most persuasive. So we wind up going to this other argument that lends itself to, why would you just limit smoking and vaping then? Why wouldn't you then use this argument to say, all right, well, this is the argument we're going to use to get rid of gummies and edibles and tablets, right? Because if the idea is you're trying to restrict people from being high, from getting high on town properties, then you wouldn't just limit this to smoking and vaping, and you wouldn't harp on the fact that all you're doing is limiting smoking and vaping.